a massive welcome to all of you. It's absolutely brilliant to see you all here. I really appreciate how difficult it is for you guys in your busy day jobs to be released, to come here. So I'm really, really grateful for you to be here today. So, describing myself, and we do that for people that are visually impaired, so you will see people coming up on stage and we will describe ourselves. Never a nice thing to do, so I'll leave the weight part out of it. I'll describe myself as a white 40-something female with short blonde hair wearing a very bright African dress. My first key point here is I'll be guiding you through some of the national work that we're doing within the DPA, some changes that we've made over the last year. This is my first year as president of the DPA, taking over from Tracy Betts, who was up here this time last year. We needed to do some quite big work nationally, and that's hopefully what you'll find out more about today. So don't judge a book by its cover, a theme that we hear mentioned quite often with disability. When you look at me, you can probably guess I'm disabled. I'm the president of the Disabled Police Association, but if you saw me at work, would you know? You wouldn't, because my disabilities are invisible most of the time if I don't have my walking stick with me. Something else you might not know about me, I'm actually the only white person in my family. That's why I'm rocking this lovely West African dress from Ghana. So my family that I married into are from Ghana. My children are mixed race. My husband is black. Why am I telling you about it? You're not here to learn about me. You're not here to know all the ins and outs about my life. But so what? It's about that intersectionality piece. Don't judge a book by its cover. Just because you see somebody, we all make assumptions, don't we? But do we really know the people we work with? If we're line managers, do we know the people that we actually look after on our team? Do we ask the right questions? So it's just something to be mindful from all of us that there's more to it. There's more than meets the eye. There's more than that judging that book by its cover. Leads me to this really lovely quote that I found. Never assume what a disabled person needs, just ask. I've said this a few times before, so in policing, we're amazing at asking really intimate questions of suspects and victims. We deal with people in their worst hours, at their worst times, but actually, when it comes to looking after our own police, our own staff, our own officers, we are scared of asking the question. And as you'll see later today, that is what leads on to grievances, employment tribunals. Those would have been nipped in the bud if only we all had the confidence to actually ask people when they have been brave, when they have shared a health condition, a medical condition, a diagnosis. Let's ask them what they need. Don't assume. It's really lovely to be asked as a disabled person. It's really empowering. It's not very nice when I'm told by a line manager about my own condition that even I don't fully understand myself. So it's just something to be mindful. So the D word. Disability, it's taken as a very negative word because it's got the word dis at the beginning of it. And I really like this t-shirt, hashtag D word, disability is not a bad word. It isn't, and we have to embrace it. But why do we have to embrace it? Even though lots of people hate that word, it's taken as a negative connotation. Hence, the word dis has been taken off the backdrop behind me, focusing the word ability, which is positive. What can people do, not what people can't do. That's what we need to focus on. But actually, none of us in this room chose the word disability. Again, we're in the police. We uphold the law. The law states in the Equality Act that that word is disability. So therefore, we have to embrace it. We can't pick and choose what laws we choose to abide by. So that's why we still have Disabled Police Association as our title, because it is the law. And we have to stick by that. What we all have to be mindful of is that many, many people will never identify as disabled, as having a disability, because of what that word portrays for them personally. So when we're trying to, and you'll hear this mentioned today about trying to improve data capture within police forces and things like that, it's a barrier. If you ask the question, are you disabled, you're going to get the answer no. If you ask the question, do you have a disability, you may get the answer of no. But actually, do you meet this definition as per the Equality Act? You may well get the answer yes, because they do meet that definition, but they are never going to identify as someone with a disability. So it's something to be mindful of. Again, I mentioned earlier that it's interesting, we uphold the law in policing. That is what we do. That is our bread and butter. If we went and dealt with a series of robberies or burglaries and came back to the police station and a boss said, right, okay, how did you get on with that burglary? And I said, well, it was only at number 1, the High Street. And they said, oh, Andrew, what about the fact that there's been 15 burglaries in that street, but I didn't bother looking? It's the same with disability. If we don't look for the trends and we don't look for the learning, how can we improve? How can we get things better? And that's partly why policing and disability, both internally for staff and officers and external for victims, is in vast need of improvement. So it brings me on to the new DPA National Pledge. Hopefully most of you in the room, if not all of you, have heard of the pledge. And I need to go into why. Why have we actually created this? What's the purpose of it? So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background to begin with. So on the screen, all of the protected characteristics listed around in a circle, all equal as they should be. But we need to have an honest conversation. We haven't really done this before in the DPA. There is a hierarchy of protected characteristics, sadly. Despite all of us doing amazing work in the equality space, they're not equal. All forces have signed the Race Action Plan, quite rightly so they should. They support VORG, absolutely, so they should, as we do in the DPA. So why don't people sign our pledge? What's that about? There's a disparity amongst forces. There has been 2 forces that so far have refused to sign the pledge because they don't want to be seen as picking one protected characteristic over the other. We need to have an honest conversation. That is what's happening. The DPA are often not asked to have a seat around the table at really important national meetings. I met with my colleagues who are also president and national chairs of the other national networks that the NPCC support. And it was really refreshing for them to acknowledge that, for the National Black Police Association to say to me, I completely understand that, Andrea. We're invited to all of these meetings. We're having the conversation. But disability just gets forgotten about. So this is our way, the pledge, by saying, look, guys, we're here. There's some serious issues we need to resolve. We need you to listen to our messages. We're trying to help. A quarter, the magic figure. So statistics say that a quarter of the whole population have a disability. And actually, we think within policing, that number is a lot higher. We often attract neurodivergent people because of the large skill set that we have to do to perform the jobs that we do on a daily basis. That figure is probably more likely to be around 50%. So actually, why aren't we listening? Why aren't we learning from these themes and making improvements that we need to make? We say about the word intersectionality, but actually, if we're looking at all of these in an isolated fashion and we're not all working together as national networks, we're not going to achieve that. And I'm pleased that ACC John McAdam is here today in a new NPCC role to be in charge of the national support networks, which we are part of, to make us work together more and bring each other to the table to ensure all those protected characteristics have a voice. So, some of the key big messages that you will hear quite a lot about over the next 2 days. Employment tribunals and grievances are increasing. Disability, out of all protected characteristics, is the biggest reason for employment tribunals. Who knew? Who speaks about that? For the chief officers in the room, when you have those meetings and the statistics are brought together for lots of crime, for internal sickness, grievances, does anyone know that? It was our way of bringing the pledge together to show they are going up, and they are going up at an alarming rate. And it's because we need people to listen to the messages. You need to let us help you, guide you through, and give you that support and guidance to how you can improve things. And hopefully you'll learn a lot about what you can do over the next few days. I've seen a real worrying trend in the last 12 months, especially with the drastic cuts that forces are having to make to their budgets, which means people, always means, sadly, losing people. Specialist staff and officers in equality, diversity and inclusion roles are being removed from those posts. Police officers can't be made redundant, they will be moved to a different role. But I've lost 2 members of my police staff in my DPA committee alone in the last 12 months, purely because they were in those roles and they've been made redundant because of it. That seems to be a very interesting trend when you look at the graph on the left showing all the grievances and employment tribunals going up and staff that have got that specialist knowledge in those roles going down. So this feeds into the Casey review. So those of you might remember back in 2022, it was just a review done on the Met. And again, a big important part that was forgotten about that review by some people, disability discrimination was a big part of that review within the Met. It showed that disability discrimination was rife within the Met. They had the largest reason for employment tribunals. And since then, that's increased by 60%. And I can guarantee if there was analysis into every force in the country, it would be similar, because we're still not getting it right. But if we have a review nationally, I think we need to take those lessons and we need to make those improvements, because these are the people that are doing these jobs. Without them, they might resign. We're struggling with recruitment and retention nationally. By getting things right for your people, stopping grievances before they even happen, stopping employment tribunals, you're keeping people that are experienced and knowledgeable in those roles, so it's a win-win situation. So again, that's the message. That's why we've created a pledge. Really, in an ideal world, we shouldn't need a DPA pledge. We shouldn't need VORG. We shouldn't need a race action plan, because wouldn't it be great to get it right? But we're not. We know why we need all of those things. So again, we just need to have that honest conversation about disability and bring that in. You know, when we had Opnavet last summer and all of the riots, that sometimes only race was looked at, actually there was intersectionality all the way through that, and we were all asked to do listening circles. But actually in individual forces with Opnavet, that was often forgotten. So as I just said, it's not just the right thing to do. Of course we should look after our people. Of course we should give them reasonable adjustments to bring down the barriers, to make them have a level playing field, and for all of us to be able to thrive and be our best at work. But it's not just the right things to do. It's going to save huge amounts of money. So when you're making those cuts and increasing your equality, diversity and inclusion teams, in my opinion, how does that make sense? When one employment tribunal costs over £100,000 and annually millions per force, and at the Federation and Unison, all the information's there online about how many millions they're spending every 12 months on employment tribunals for disability, it makes no sense. Those teams pay for themselves and more. They prevent just one employment tribunal of £100,000. Interestingly, at the moment, some of you may be aware, I was really pleased to see the government have got a new white paper going through, which the consultation period has now finished, and it will be pretty much a 3 to 5 year project to bring this through. But the Equality, Race and Disability Bill will mean that forces, because of the size of our organisation, will have to do mandatory ethnicity and disability pay reporting. That's really, really positive. And I think for me, I look back, we've all heard about gender pay gaps. So I was quite naive many years ago, thinking, oh, I'm really pleased, I'm a police officer. That doesn't apply to me, because we all earn the same. All the males that I work with, I earn exactly the same. It's all a staggered, staged pay progression. But that was actually really naive. I'm a female, I'm underrepresented in the police, I've outrageously had maternity leave and 2 children. That's my own choice. But of course, it does affect people's progression in an organisation when you look at how many females are in higher ranks, etc. So for disability, that barrier is huge. We have adjusted duties officers who can't be deployed front line, and actually a lot of people think, well, they can't be promoted because you must have operational experience. You must be able to basically put that stab vest on and jump in that car to do that job. So this would be really, really helpful for us moving forwards to A, get the data to begin with, and B, understand the extra support that people should be able to be given to achieve the rank, to achieve the scale that they deserve to get. I won't read out the actual wording of the pledge, but that's what it is there on the screen for you to read. This was sent out in the summer to all chief constables and police and crime commissioners. Some people said, well, why did we send it out to PCCs? Well, actually, they hold the chief constables to account. So we can't get the chiefs to do what we need them to do if the police and crime commissioners don't understand what we're trying to achieve and don't ask the chiefs the questions about their force. So just going into a little bit of detail, you will remember the 12-point plan that we've had for the last few years within policing. We have changed that. Every single element of that 12-point plan is incorporated into the new force action requirements, as they're called. We've done it in true policing style. Everyone loves a plan on a page. So we've made it into a visual plan on a page, hopefully really simple for people to see. And there's 7 key themes there. Again, I won't read them all off what's on the screen there, and you're going to learn about all of them in the breakout sessions this afternoon in finite detail. But it won't surprise you to know employment tribunal levels are on there, grievances are on there. And actually, something else you'll learn this afternoon is when we did a Freedom of Information request last year to all forces to ask, what are your level of grievances for disability? What are they for employment tribunals? A lot of forces couldn't answer the question because we don't record the information in the right way, so therefore they weren't able to give it to us. This is why we're here. We don't expect forces to look at this list and go, oh yeah, you know, we're amazing. My home force is Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. We do all of this. I'll sign the pledge. We know that you can't all do all of these things on the screen at the moment. That's where we're there to help. We're there to guide you. We're there to support you and give you documents to say this is how you could start recording your grievances in employment tribunals, as an example. When it comes to training, we are asking the college and saying to them, actually, we need a national product rather than every force individually trying to cram in something on disability, which would cover internally staff, officers and volunteers, and externally with the public. So that's what we're working towards. We're working with you. So by signing the pledge, it's something your force is working towards with us. And we aren't going away. Every 12 months, we will be checking in with you all, seeing if you're at disability confident level 3. If not, are there any barriers as to why you're not? Can we help with that? If you're struggling to get your data together, again, can we help? So it's a two-way street. Part of that work is Purple Space. So in the DPA, as a national network, we receive no funding whatsoever. We're really grateful you've all come in person because that's how we're able to put this conference on, is literally bums on seats, and our kind sponsors that have given us money towards today's event and tomorrow. So Purple Space is the world's only professional development hub for disability network leaders, and I managed to apply for some funding to get membership to this. And with our membership, we basically get every single force can sign up to Purple Space. As I often say, yes, we're a police force, we are policing in Scotland, England and Wales, but actually we don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's people all around the world in public and private organisations that can answer the questions for us, that can say, what did you do to improve your data capture in your area of business, IBM or whichever company they may be? And it gives you that space to ask the questions. There's also free training on there, free webinars on there. So I'd encourage you all to come and visit our stall. If you don't think your forces sign up to that, we can take your details and we can get you signed up as a member for that. And hopefully that's our way of being able to support you all in your forces and provide you with that extra resource. So our Strategic Disability Working Group. So until a few years ago, we had a working group through the college, which was called the Reasonable Adjustment Working Group, and that kind of folded and we didn't have anything. So Andrew Price, the Assistant Chief Officer lead for disability for the MPCC, we got together and said, right, we need to create one for disability. We've got to get cracking with this because you've seen the figures earlier on about employment tribunals and grievances. The situation with disability has actually gone from bad to worse, if we're being honest about it. So how do we work together strategically at a national level to pull that together and send all that information out? So we've had our first meetings, and this is who you're going to hear from this afternoon in the breakout rooms. So we've got the Neurodiversity Working Group. So ACC Matt Wellstead runs that group as MPCC lead for neurodiversity, and all of the other strand leads from within my own committee and with the College of Policing when it comes to reasonable adjustments. So hopefully you'll find that really interesting, and hopefully it will give you the information you need to understand what our new vision is nationally and how we're not going away. We've got ourselves into the places we need to be in, and we're having those conversations with chiefs nationally, with our ED&I teams and through all of the staff networks in all the forces. So we hope that will really, really help things. If you wanted to know, currently, and I think this is accurate, as of Friday afternoon when Dorset signed the pledge, that's the current list of forces that have signed, including PCCs, some of the other national staff support associations that wanted to support us with our pledge, and along with the College of Policing that have signed it. So as you can see on there, the list is growing on a daily basis, but it would be fantastic to get it to the top, to 50 forces, all the police and crime commissioners and mayors. Again, if you have any questions about the pledge, please come and see us at our DPA stall in the break. And hopefully now, I think you're going to have a video that's going to play, which is the City of London signing the pledge for us. And, oh, it is playing, but it's not playing. I can see it there, but it's not coming up on the screen. So I'll come off the stage.
Hey everyone, I am Pete O'Doherty. I am the Commissioner here at the City of London Police. We have got a really clear mission as an organisation to be one of the most trusted and inclusive police services in the UK. I really wish that I could have been at the conference with each and every one of you. I will definitely look to make it next time. And so for now, you'll have to have this video of me, which I hope is okay. So look, the kind of National Disabled Police Association Pledge of 2025, really, really important mechanism to ensure that as a police service, we do everything we can to support everyone with a disability or condition as covered by the Equality Act. And we make policing the most accessible and the most inclusive and supportive organisation that we possibly can. Already in the City of London Police, there is a lot of activity at play to really deliver on our support and commitment to the pledge. So, for example, you know, we have a dyslexia assessment team. We have an inclusivity programme where we have a range of modules to educate our officers and staff, improve standards, raise awareness, and that's really important for us. And of course, really innovative around how we give flexible working, reasonable adjustments. We want everyone to be the individual they are and to feel a strong sense of equity and support in the organisation. Now today, this is a really important moment for me and for everyone in the City of London Police as we look to sign this incredibly important pledge. And we're going to be using modern and accessible technology to do that in front of you right now. What could go wrong? So here we go. I've got my signature there, nice and centred. And there we go. In a matter of seconds, we have signed up to the pledge. So look, enjoy the conference, everyone. I really hope to meet each and every one of you very shortly. All the best and see you soon.
Thank you very much.